I am Vaughan Amaré. It is nice to see you all here. Northern Lights Center for Spiritual Living is a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create lives we want to live. Northern Lights Center for Spiritual Living offers practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. Our promise: to reveal, inspire, uplift, magnify, and celebrate our greatness. We acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded lands of the First People of Seattle, the Duwamish and Coastal Salish peoples, who are federally recognized as the Muckleshoot tribe. These people are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. In a similar fashion, we acknowledge that much of what we know in our country today, including its culture, economic growth, and development throughout history and across time, has been made possible by the labor of enslaved Africans and their descendants, who suffered the horrors of transatlantic trafficking of their people, chattel slavery, and Jim Crow. We also name the Asian and Chicano people who toiled with little recognition. We are indebted to their labor and their sacrifice, and we acknowledge the tremors of that violence throughout the generations of the resulting impacts that can still be felt and witnessed today. Please join me, if you care to, for our opening song, In This Very Room, by Ron and Carol Harris. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. In this very
Well, good morning, all. And so let us prepare for this. And let's prepare for this morning's meditation by allowing ourselves to get comfortable in our seats wherever we happen to be, be it on the beach or in our home or in our backyard or in the church, wherever it happens to be. Let's just get comfortable in our seats. And let's put our feet firmly planted on the floor, hands in our lap in an open and upright position, and allowing our eyes to close. And let us take 3 deep cleansing breaths in and out together to allow ourselves to go deeper. So let's breathe in and let it go. Let's breathe in again. And let it go. And one more time in. and letting go. So let's do a quick survey of our body to see if there's any place that's holding on, starting at our feet and moving up to our head. And if you find a place that's holding on, just say to it, relax, release, and let go. Just relax, release, and let go. And just allowing yourselves to just be in that let go experience. Letting everything go. And so this morning, let us contemplate this thought. I joyfully follow my passion. I joyfully follow my passion. I joyfully follow my passion. So what are those passions? It may be one, it may be 100. Bring to mind what those passions are and set a course to joyfully follow them. So for the next few moments, let us be with the passion and see ourselves joyfully following. I joyfully follow my passion. I joyfully follow my passion. And let us right here and right now give thanks for the guidance, thanks for the direction, and thanks for the passion. And let's now come back into this room, back into this space, the coming back with the knowingness, with the knowledge that we have passion and that we joyfully follow. And so it is.
Now is our opportunity to review our declaration. You know, everybody here knows this routine, so I'm going to say it, and you're welcome. I'm going to do it 3 times. You're welcome to say it all 3 times. You're welcome to say it once. You're welcome to say it twice. However works for you. We are an expanding and loving community, working in a field of infinite potential. We are an expanding and loving community, working in a field of infinite potential. We are an expanding and loving community, working in a field of infinite potential. And so it is.
So it is.
Little computer lag.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do about that. So you're talking to
So the
somebody out
reading
of the
right
room.
now?
Yep.
Okay. So the reading is actually going to come by through a video. So I'm going to share my screen.
All right, everyone. I gotta tell you, big confession time. There has been something that I have loved all my life, and that is dancing. I was a dancer as a kid. I've been a kid. My parents bought me a Footloose tape. I don't know if any of you remember Footloose. Some of you millennials may not have any clue what I'm talking about. But it was like the hit of the 80s. I would dance around my living room, sweating profusely. I wore the tape out. Again, millennials, you may not know what I'm talking about with the tape. Look it up, Google. It was a ridiculous piece of machinery. Anyway, I digress. And I would do dancing lessons, and I even went into performing arts high school, but you know what? I kept quitting dance. You know, I loved it, and it was a huge passion, but somewhere along the line, I told myself, it's not a stable enough career. You're not talented enough. Other people are better at this. They've got more range, more experience. And frankly, you can't even touch your toes, sister, so who's kidding who? I don't know when it happened, but I started to hold myself back and decide that it didn't matter that you loved it and it brought you joy. It's time to get serious and get grown up. Way before I was even a grown up. I mean, how pathetic is that, right? I will be honest with you. I've never told anybody this, about how I have desperately missed and wished that I had pursued this in my career and in my life. But here's the reality. You can always come back to your place of joy. It just may take a little more bravery when you are in your 40s than if you were able to do it all throughout your life. And here's what it has looked like for me. I realized when I first became a professional speaker at just the tender age of 39 that I wanted to start dancing. I signed up for an adult tap class. I thought it was going to be tap dancing. And I've been doing tap dancing, routines and even recitals, and we dress up like little kids. It's actually kind of embarrassing. But anyway, my point is, I was having lots of fun with it. And then I quickly realized tap dancing, well, I'm gonna have to get a lot of special equipment. Who's gonna walk on stage? Clickety clack, clickety clack. Things are gonna be like, wait, is a train coming? Like, this is really weird. So I had to, but I knew I wanted to bring dance into my keynotes. And I thought, well, what's the kind of dance that is really cool, that I would really love to do? Hip hop. And then as soon as I signed up for an adult hip hop class this September, I thought, oh, I'm home. I mean, I'm a little creaky and rickety and all that stuff compared to all these younger dancers, but who cares? I have found it. And I envisioned the possibility that this is the dance that I could bring to the stage. Well, I am excited to tell you that it finally has happened. This May, 2019, finally for the first time, completely nervous, I had worked with my choreographer from that studio to choreograph a piece to build into the keynote. First, I taught people how to do the dance and a little piece of the dance that they could do with me, and then we choreographed a piece completely for me to do on my own in front of 300 people. No one hears the wild thing. It was the most invigorating, liberating, powerful experience of my speaking career to date. So I just have to share this with you. I mean, this is not about me and my dance anymore, actually. This is me sharing very vulnerably honest with you that I had left something that was so meaningful and powerful in my life behind. And I'm curious if you have done something like that too. Maybe it was art, maybe it was Taekwondo, maybe it was rug hooking. I don't know, whatever that thing was that you loved so much. And then eventually you told yourself, I'm not good enough to make it professionally, or I gotta get serious, or I don't have time for that. But what in fact is it costing you? I'll tell you, if I can get in front of 300 people and all of a sudden start hip hop dancing at 43 years old, how can you come back and embrace something that you love, that's so passionate, that will fill you with joy, and frankly may take some bravery to get there, but on the other side of it, you will realize that you have been waiting for it all along. We have a choice every single day to step into our greatness and for you to be your greatness magnified. And I'm so grateful that you were along for the ride in my greatness magnified too.
And so it is.
So it is. Oh,
That would be you.
that would be me.
Here.
So please join me if you'd like to, or just be sung to. I give the world my best. I offer with my whole heart. I lift my mind to each test. My passion guides my part. I love this life that I live. I love my purpose, my gift. I bless this life that I live. I bless my purpose, my gift. All gifts. Now it's next time is you. You give the world your best. You offer with your whole heart. You lift your mind to each test. Your passion guides your part. You love this life that you live. You love your purpose, your gift. You bless this life that you live. You bless your purpose, your gift. All gifts. Now it's we. We give the world our best. We offer with our whole heart. We lift our minds to each test. Our passion guides our part. We love this life that we live. We love our purpose, our gift. We bless this life that we live. We bless our purpose, our gifts, all gifts. Now back to I. I give the world my best. I offer with my whole heart. I lift my mind to each test. My passion guides my part. I love this life that I live. I love my purpose, my gift. I bless this life that I live. I bless my purpose, my gift. All gifts. Now we are going to have 3 interludes. We're going to have a song to set the tone for the talk. We're going to take a pause and be reminded about a way to get joyful very quickly. And then at the end of the song, during the offering time, we're going to have a final song to cap off the talk. So now you have a map about where we're going.
A map. Yes. It's a GPS. I'm the GPS. What's going on? It's not coming through.
Tears try to drown me out when you're walking through the fire, when the voices drag you down, but you can't fight it 'cause you're tired. I can feel it is rising inside my soul. I surrender it all, let you take control. 'Cause your joy is greater than 1,000 sorrows, and your love will conquer all my tomorrows. It fills my heart, sing your song, and now I'm dancing all day long. Ooh, I love to feel your joy. Oh, I love to feel your joy. It will find you in the deep when you think there's no way out. It is comfort, it is peace, and you're never gonna hear a more beautiful sound. I can feel it is rising inside my soul. I surrender it all, let you take control. 'Cause your joy is greater than 1,000 sorrows, and your love will conquer all my tomorrows. It fills my heart, sing your song, and now I'm dancing all day long. Ooh, I love to feel your joy. Oh, I love to feel your joy. It's always there, feel it now. It fills me up, I pour it out. It's always there, feel it now. It fills me up, I pour it out. It's always there, feel it now. It fills me up, I pour it out. It's always there, feel it now. It fills me up, I pour it out. Your joy is greater than 1,000 sorrows, and your love will conquer all my tomorrows. Your joy is greater than 1,000 sorrows, and your love will conquer all my tomorrows. It fills my heart, sing your song, and now I'm dancing all day long. Ooh, I love to feel your joy. Oh, I love to feel your joy. Oh, I love to feel your joy. Oh, I love to feel your joy.
So as you all may remember, the global theme for this year is living out loud. And I thought for a moment about the notion of living out loud. And joy is one of those things that really lets us live out loud. Living in our passions is really something that lets us live out loud. Now conversely, I tried to remember, there's a phrase about for crying out loud. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but for crying out loud is like, oh my gosh, can't you see that what you're doing is driving me crazy? For crying out loud, stop that. For crying out loud, all of this. I love the notion of replacing, of that moment, that catching ourselves in the thick of it, when we're tempted to say, for crying out loud, why is this happening to me? To turn it on its head and to say, living out loud, what is called from me in this situation? Now, I know from having shared a class together that each one of us have faced challenges. One of the challenge with challenges is that they can be a little bit contagious. Have you ever worked in a place where it's like, who can have the worst bad story? Who can have the best bad story? And you can find yourself getting caught up in the notion, oh, I know I can one-up that one. I know that this experience, it's going to top that. And what I want to remind people of in terms of finding our passion and finding our joy is that the minute that we catch ourselves finding the worst possible story to tell, telling about the worst situation, having the opportunity to whine the loudest of anybody and being entitled to our whining, that is the moment that we are cutting ourselves off from our joy. Now think for a moment. Stephanie is a designer, clothing design. Does Stephanie shop for the materials for her clothes at a paper store? Maybe sometimes for a rare thing. But when Stephanie is looking for fabric, she goes to places where she knows they're going to have fabulous fabric. How often in our lives do we go looking for things that we know are not going to be there? You go to the grocery store expecting groceries. You don't go to the grocery store expecting to find the best books around. You may go to a bookstore looking to find great music, and maybe the rare bookstore will have some music, but it's not going to have the range of music. I remember growing up, there used to be a record store, and it was some miles away, and my dad would have to drive us there, but that was the destination. We knew we were going, so I had my list. What had I heard on the radio? What were things that were like that? What were things that was going to inspire that? If we're looking for music, we go to a music store. If we're looking for fabric, we go to a fabric store. If we're looking for joy, if we're looking for our passion, how crazy is it to be telling the same old tired stories? Oh wait, did you have a bad week? I had a bad week too. I don't know where or how it developed, that notion of that competition for the worst. But that competition for the worst is now that we're all awakened to it, it's our instant catching ourselves. That we are off the path to our passion. We are off the path to our joy. Ernest Holmes taught the notion that divinity, the creator, the great collaborator, the divine expression, created all that is. And this creation is ongoing. It wasn't like in the story of Genesis, it wasn't done in 7 days, and then the divine said, I'm stepping away. Good luck, have fun, or not. And a lot of the biblical stories are very, or not.
True.
But the biblical stories were there to make the point that no matter how far people turned away, the divine was always present. That the people could screw up mightily. And that did not cut them off from the divine. The divine could be represented. The divine could be brought back at any moment. It's just that we have to open our hearts to that. We have to open our minds to that. And that falls on us. I can't say to my mom and dad, I wish you had done this so that I would be this way. Now, I've certainly spent time thinking that. Thinking, I wish you had been a little bit more accepting of my diversity as a person. I was well into my 50s and my mom was still describing my spouse as my very good friend to her friends. Yes, Robbie and Michael are good friends. They live together. And I would often take that moment to share, actually, we're married. And we actually share a life together. And I could see her kind of squirm and fidget because it was outside of where her comfort was. She wasn't at all uncomfortable with Michael.
No.
She, multiple times, she said, I don't really know why you're with that mess, my child. But, it's great that you're there because they're a little bit less of a mess with you around. There's three things that I want us to think about in terms of our unique expressions of the divine. Reattaching to the child within. Reattaching to our creativity. And reattaching to our intuitive capacities. So three things: our childlike qualities, our creativity, and attaching to our intuition. Think about yourself as a child. The speaker that Stephanie presented told us about herself as a child. She would listen to that footloose, everybody footloose tape until the tape was destroyed. I have to say that millennials probably may have a little bit better acquaintance with it because of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
And the main character, Star-Lord, loved Footloose and loved that there was a hero. There was also a car that was a hero. And that those were the greatest heroes on earth. Because that's what 9-year-old Peter carried with him into the stars. What do we carry with us from our childhood? What is it that excited us? I don't know about you, but who else loved getting to go to the toy store? The toy store just had so many things. It was great because if you loved models, there were models there. If you loved stuffed animals, there were stuffed animals there. If you loved games, there were all kinds of games there. Whatever it is that you loved, the toy store had it all. And it was like a little nirvana. If I had known the word nirvana when I was little, that would have been my picture of nirvana. Many times, those things that excited us as children told us key pieces about ourselves. Now, I remember, again, I'm going to speak a little bit personally, I remember coming out to my mom and my dad. My dad had no surprise. My mom was like, wow, that's stunning. This is with the woman that I used to regularly go to her to the department stores. And when I was in the department stores, I would always end up in the drapery or the furnishing department. And when I was in the furnishing and the drapery department, I would rearrange the furniture in the departments. And the people would come up to me and say, that looks much better. The way that you took the chair from that place and moved it over to there, I would never have thought of that, but it looks so much better.
Like a job.
And, I could look at any pair of curtains and figure out, well, what place would that look good in? And like I said, my mother was surprised. I had some very prototypically clear exemplars of having interests that were distinct from straight normative male. I still love furnishings. I spent a whole bunch of time after my mom passed away. There were pieces that she wanted Michael and I to have. And we redid these pieces so that we could make them a little bit more of our own. So that love from childhood persisted. A lot of times people will come here to Northern Light Spiritual Center and talk about the way the place looks. Michael and I are very deliberate about how the place looks. Now, you wouldn't always tell by the amount of stuff that we have on the top of our countertops. Our cluttered countertops belie the idea to be able to, at any time or moment, have people come in from a home show and model our home. However, that has been an ongoing love. Another element was that I loved coming up with songs. As you may know, every month I try to come up with a different song. I got up at the age of 4 and I performed in front of, that group of parents at that vacation retreat where they would send their kids away for like 4 hours a day so that the parents were like, thank God, I have a moment of peace. And you camp counselors have our children. And we don't have to see our children. We don't have to care for our children. We have nothing to do with those lovely children because we've had them all summer, and all summer has been far too long for our children. And so all of these parents are guilted into the fact that their children have been practicing and performing and ready to do a performance. So we have a stage and, there's 100 kids, so there are at least 200 parents. And, this evening, and I'm doing a homemade song on this stage with 200 some odd people, and I'm not at all afraid. I'm excited. I'm thrilled at this prospect. I remember in grade school, I was a first grader, and I had 8th graders who knew who I was. I didn't know who the heck they were, but they knew who I was because I was, again, not particularly shy. I was not afraid to be seen. Now, sometimes in retrospect, I look back and I'm like, how is it that those kids knew me? Because I put myself in front of every possible situation. But that's my joy. What I'd like you to do for a moment is think about your joys as children. What was it that sparkled? What was it that lit you up? Be very generous about this. Any judgment, like the speaker in Stephanie's talk said, I looked at it and I knew I couldn't make my career. This isn't about your career. This is about reconnecting with joy. So, Maestro, can you play the...
Yeah, it's not going to play on our speakers here.
That's fine.
Okay. 1 moment, please. No technical difficulties. 2, right? Mm-hmm.
I wanted to share that because it's very easy to get back in touch with joy. I saw smiles in response to that. One of the meditations that Michael did when he was in practitioner training was that he just brought in this 15-minute tape of children laughing. And he just shared that. And that was the opening for that experience. Childlike wonder does not have to be some distant process that we connect to through deep psychotherapy. Childlike wonder is as available as our laughter. And our laughter is as available as what delights us. So we will send out a link to those darling baby laughter things. And again, if you don't like them, you can get rid of them. But you can also have them. Because sometimes it's nice to be able to pull that out. The second thing that I want us to consider as we think about connecting to our passion and to our joy is the process of creativity. Raymond Charles Barker wrote, "My creativity is amazing. It renews and recreates my whole experience. I am a new person with a fresh mind, living in an interesting world." Now, I know that there are creators here. We're seeing the creation that Phyllis made where she's sitting now. She had a vision for what that part of her yard could be. We know that Victor is a creator because Victor has sold children's books that told a story that was unique to him and his experience. But the thing about him and his experience is that it resonates with far more than just himself. There's a whole realm of people that are touched by what Victor is sharing. Jeffrey can come to any mechanical object in the universe and figure out how to make it work better. Stephanie has designed countless items. She has a whole line that she is putting together for children so that their families and children can have that same kind of delight that you saw in those videos. When the children are wearing her clothes, they're not like, I have to go out in this. There's happiness. Stephanie has created with a vision of joy, with a vision of possibility, where kids are looking forward to getting dressed as opposed to running away from it. Michael, people look at our places and say, oh my gosh, somebody has a green thumb. Well, it's Michael. It isn't me. I have green attached. I have green related. The process of creativity is a deliberate choice to be open. One of the things that's happening with the prosperity class that we're all dealing with is that we are starting each day remembering ourselves as co-creator, as collaborator with the divine. And that anything that we are longing for is already waiting for us. And whatever myths that we have previously bought into, telling us that it has to be hard. If it's worthwhile, we had to have struggled for it. Mae McCarthy's work on our class is about setting aside that myth It's about recognizing that any difficulty, the divine, which creates the whole universe, and there are theories that there are multiple universes. There are multiple universes beyond what we can count, beyond what we can imagine. In those multiple universes, there's a creator behind it all, carrying all of that. So anytime that we are feeling burdened, anytime that we are weighed down and put upon, anytime we are disrupted by something like a barking dog, there is something bigger than us. Ready. Ernest Chew wrote, "Watch children at play. For them, a cardboard box becomes a castle. Dolls become part of the family, and video games allow them to save the universe." As grown-ups, how many times do we read a book or see a movie and find ourselves transported? We are woken up to prospects that we hadn't imagined. So, creativity is ours to express passion and joy. Finally, the third piece is about taking that intuitive leap. Now, the notion of an intuitive leap is an age-old concept. We see this in the story of Icarus. He took flight. Now, he didn't necessarily have full success. He didn't stay in the air. That story, though, was about flying too close to the sun. The intuition, the possibility of flying, was absolute. Where is it that our intuition wants to take us? What flight are we able to take? Oprah Winfrey wrote, "There is no greater gift that you can give or receive than to honor your calling. It's why you were born and how you become most truly alive." I'll say that again because I think it's an important idea. There is no greater gift that you can give or receive than to honor your calling. It's why you were born and how you become more truly alive. In the tarot deck, a card before any of the cards is the Fool. It's not a numbered card, but the Fool is leaping, is taking a step. People may remember the movie with Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones. And he is required to take a leap of faith into a seeming abyss. How many times do we feel like there is only an abyss before us and that the next step is impossible? Well, rewind a little bit and go back and remember that there is a divine that has created the entire universe. And when it feels too heavy or too difficult for ourselves, we're left with two choices. There are more, but I'm going to narrow it down to two. We're left with that capacity to whine and moan and bitch. We're left with the opportunity to see how skilled are we at complaining. I can't believe I've got this challenge in front of me. Whereas that intuitive inner child, that intuitive creative being is like, I can't believe there is this challenge ahead of me. The words are no different, but the emotional energy of awe, the emotional energy of wonder, our intuitive capacities are about reconnecting to that wonder. It's about reconnecting to that joy. Anytime that we feel ourselves disconnected from that joy, anytime we catch ourselves with, I can't believe how difficult this is, we can catch ourselves. We can call on the creator of all that is creating this moment and this word, and maintain our words. I can't believe how big this is. So some questions to carry forward are, what are the joys that you had as a child? What brought you joy? When was the last time you used your imagination? Pay attention. In all likelihood, it's far more frequently than you want to admit. So what brought you joy, and what continues to bring you joy? When did you use your imagination? And where else will you use your imagination? I have an affirmation for us to share together. Woohoo!
Oh, did I say that?
You did.
Yeah.
The Creator fills me. The Creator fills me with my unique joy and passion. With my unique joy and passion. The Creator fills me. The Creator fills me with my unique joy and passion. With my unique joy and passion. One more time. The Creator fills me. The Creator fills me with my unique joy and passion. And so it is. Stephanie, will you pray us out, please?
Sure, I was just reveling in that. Okay. Let's just take a deep inhale in. Whew, and letting it go. And being right here in this wonderful space, in this wonderful time, in this present moment, knowing that right here and right now that we are filled with joy. Having been reminded of who we are, having been reminded to go to that childlike joy and let that encompass us and operate through us and be us as we move and navigate through this thing called life. Let us be with the joy, let us be with the creativity, let us allow that imagination to soar, to expand. And we do this by divine appointment. For the word has been spoken and we have said yes to the manifestation of it. And so now we revel in it. And we take this into our day, into our lives, knowing that the joy, that the passion, that the creativity is ours to use. And so I'm giving thanks for this. I'm giving thanks for the reminder. I'm giving thanks for the beingness. I'm giving thanks that there's no reason to be stuck in the doom and gloom, but be in the expansion and the joy that is always present. And so I'm in this place of gratitude. I'm in this place of thanksgiving. As I release this word to the perfect action of the law, letting it go and letting it be, and sealing this for all eternity by saying, Ashe.
Ashe.
Amen.
Amen.
So it is.
And so it is. So we're going to take the collection, and Michael's going to play this song by Andy Anderson.
Am
You are.
I? Okay. I don't know what Ashe means.
It's from an African dialect, meaning "and so it is,"
Okay.
and "let it be so."
I accept that. I expected it as much. Just making sure.
Wake up and behold a brand new day before me. Excited to experience this day that God has made. I let love and joy go before me, and treat the world as one. I give myself to what's in front of me. Don't hold nothing back, just keep looking straight ahead. With spirit as my guide, release love from inside. What's my way? What's my way to live my life with passion, let the good times just keep on rolling. I just live my life with passion, let the good times just keep on rolling. Allow my full potential to express the truth of me. I choose to go forth in a bold and brand new way. I'm never blinded by the events that surround me. I'm never blinded by the calls of yesterday. I just continue to give to what's in front of me. I never hold nothing back, just keep looking straight ahead. With spirit as my guide, release joy from inside. What's my way? What's my way? I live my life with passion, and let the good times just keep on rolling. Every day I live my life with passion, and let the good times just keep on rolling.
He's right.
Live your life with passion, and let the good times just keep on rolling. Oh, just live your life with passion, and let the good times just keep on rolling. Every day I live my life with passion, and let the good times just keep on rolling. Oh, just keep on rolling. Just keep on rolling. Just keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Just keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Just keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Just keep on rolling.
Never heard that before. It sounds good.
No, I have much to say. Hello. I don't have much to say today. I like the idea he brought forth about the, the yearly theme about living out loud. There's so many times I think like the speaker in Stephanie's video, where she dumbed herself down basically. You stop and you hold back, where she finally decided, basically to hell with it, And that's what we need to say, just basically to hell with what people think. It's really hard, sometimes it's hard to do that. But the divine is always present. I forget that sometimes. And it's a very, very good reminder. And it's really interesting when Reverend Vaughan brought up about, think back to your childhood, the joys and stuff, and it's really hard for me. But one of the biggest joys that I had in my life was being able to go out to my cousin's farm. I loved it on the farm. I loved the work, I was trying to figure out why I loved it, and I think I loved it because theirs was a extremely loving family. The father was pretty big and burly and kind of a little loud at times, but he was still loving. You could feel it. And my aunt, she was always that way. She was a little tiny person, but the idea that was joy that I had when I got to go out there. I would even kind of run away from home to go out there sometimes. When they didn't know where to find me, that's probably where they found me. And so yeah, the three questions, the 3 points, reattaching to our childhood. I thought that was excellent. And reattaching to our creativity. Sometimes we don't feel we're creative. And I know that's me a lot of times. But I look at some things and I am creative. I can do things and they come out and I go, oh wow, that's good. And as long as I leave my self-criticism, back in the nothingness where it belongs. And then about reattaching to our intuition. Sometimes we forget that we need to listen to ourselves. That divine spark inside, which to me is also the intuition. So, all I've got for an announcement is that we do have the boat trip coming up on September 9th, which is 9/9/23, 9/9, at 11 o'clock in the a.m. And more information will be coming, and if you want to go and you haven't signed up, you may contact Stephanie, because she's the guru on this one. Or she's a charge nurse on this one. So, with that, I just want to speak words of gratitude for everyone being here, for this beautiful day, for the air we breathe, for the beating of our hearts, for the love that we are, that we give, that we receive. I know that this life is a good life. And so it is.